Ready? Beth, you ready? All right. All right, good evening, folks. I'd like to call the Township of Lopatcong meeting to order for August 2nd, 2023. I would ask that you all take a moment to bow your heads in a moment of prayer. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, by advertising a notice in the Star Ledger and the express times of the Warren County Zone, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Yes, Councilman Del Caro.
Here.
Councilman McQuaid.
Here.
Councilman Polito.
Here.
Council President Wright.
Here.
Mayor Mengucci.
Here. Need a motion to come out of executive session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, public comment, agenda items only?
Well,
Or you, I'm sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
The council met in executive session where it discussed privilege matters regarding attorney-client privilege, contractual personnel. Minutes from the executive session will be released at such time as the council determines no public harm will come from it. The council will now take action on items 2, 4, 5, 7, and 11.
All right,
And there needs to be a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Del Caro.
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes. All right, folks, public comment, agenda items only. Tom?
Donna Schneider, 26 Meadowview. I just have some questions about the nature of the 12 items in executive session. So one is attorney-client privilege, Commissioner Chesla. Can you tell me what the nature of that discussion was?
So, as you know, with attorney-client privilege, we can't really get into the details of it, but the nature of it has to do with the weight ordinances for the trucks.
The weight ordinance. Okay, thank you. The pilot agreement, is that pilot payment in lieu of taxes, or is that the pilot truck stop?
No, it's been a little tax.
Because it looks like pilot.
Yeah,
not
no, I know.
Pilot.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pilot. Okay. Can you tell me what the nature of that was?
Other than the fact that it's payment in lieu of taxes, we can't get into any of the specifics.
Okay, so it's not for a particular property?
It is for a specific property. There's an agreement, but you can't get into the specifics of what property or what it's about.
Okay, so you can't tell me what property it is. Okay.
Sorry.
Number 3, contractual property, well, what block and lot, where is that? Is that 5th Street? I was trying to look it up, I couldn't find it.
Block 84, lot 8. Which one was that, Beth?
What was the question?
Sorry, Beth, block 84, lot 8.
Oh,
Is that 5th
it's
Street?
in Mars Park here somewhere. I'm just
Near
not
Edward
sure,
Street.
to tell you the truth.
It's near Edward Street? Okay,
Edward.
okay. And that's contractual, is that a property, does the township own that property?
So again, it's a privileged matter, so
Yeah.
I don't know how much we can say.
Okay. Okay. Then I have the vacation of the paper. This has been the 3rd time it's been in executive session.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason why it keeps going in executive and not out in the public?
There need to be things clarified as to the property. There will be action taken on it at the next meeting, and you'll have more information about it then.
Will that go in the shape of an ordinance at the next meeting? Will it be an ordinance that will be announced, or is it, what action could be taken on that?
It's again, it's
Yeah,
a privileged matter.
it's a privileged matter at
He
this
said it'll be
point.
addressed at the next
When it's
meeting.
on the agenda, it'll be on the agenda for the next meeting, and you'll see what it's about. It'll be in public session.
Okay. And block 86, lot 101, what property is that one? And what does condition number 3 mean?
There is going to be information released on that and under new business.
Under new business
Yes,
tonight?
it'll be spoke about
Okay.
tonight under new business.
Okay. And that'll discuss
And
what
you'll
number
be able
3
to see that
means?
under new business.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? John?
John Jefferson, 38 Jade Lane, good evening. I have a quick question regarding ordinance 23-18 and 23-19. Is there a difference between those two ordinances? One's under old business, number 2.
So they're the same ordinance. There had language change for the county, had some requests, but
Okay.
it's the same ordinance.
Okay. So this ordinance, to put it in a nutshell, will allow Lopatcong PD to pull over a truck that's obviously more than 4 tons over on Belvedere and other county roads, I guess, right? Is that what that says?
We're allowed to pull trucks over now.
For being overweight and, based on the gross rating of the truck. Because we've talked about.
We can pull them over now, we just can't write them yet.
Right, but this will allow, what is the ordinance? Does it allow the police department to write them
So
a ticket?
the ordinance is basically, there's a process that needs to go through to enforce certain laws on county roads. While it's still enforceable at this time, this kind of finalizes it with the county. There's a cooperation between the county and the municipality for county roads that needs to occur.
Right. So after I was here the last time, I don't think I made it to the last council meeting. I did write the county commissioners, and they said that the townships have to pass their ordinance that says they can pull a truck over based on gross rating, gross weight rating of the truck. But it's all right now in the township's hands. They have to pass the ordinance first.
Which basically, we have first reading tonight.
Yep.
We'll have
Okay, so
second,
that'll be the,
we'll have second reading, John, in September.
mhm,
It will then go up to the commissioners.
okay,
If I had to guess, I anticipate it all being done by October.
okay. Because, I emailed all 3 commissioners and I heard back from a 4th, so I forget the guy's name. And they said that, they're ready to go. So
Yeah.
we just need these ordinances so we can pull these trucks over. And I know my time's up, but I just wanted to voice my support of that ordinance.
Yeah.
And, we need to get those trucks off of that road. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Questions, comments on agenda items only? Hearing and seeing none. We'll move into old business. Number 1 is number 23-17. Second reading and public hearing to amend and supplement section 47-17 of the Township Code entitled Rates of Compression of Article 4, Chapter 47, Outside Employment for Off-Duty Police Officers to establish uniform rates of compensation for contracting the services of off-duty police officers. Need a motion to open up to the public?
Motion.
I'll second it. Folks, questions, comments on number 1? Hearing and seeing none, need a motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion to act?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid? Yes. Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Number 2 is number 23-18, second reading and public hearing to supplement Chapter 227 entitled Vehicles and Traffic to add Section 227-20A, Vehicles over Designated Gross Weight Rating, GVWR, excluded from certain county roads, or certain county streets, I'm sorry. No second reading, and this is being reintroduced under new business number 1. So, that's it. All right. Under new business. Ordinance number 23-19, first reading to supplement Chapter 227 entitled Vehicles and Traffic to add 227-28, Vehicles over Designated Gross Weight Rating excluded from certain county streets. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid? Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. Number 2 is a request from owner of Block 86, Lot 101, to have condition number 3 of maintenance repair agreement transferred over to the township. Okay. Sir, I believe you're here on that?
Yes, sir. My name is Andrew Cunningham, sir. I live 2 Highlands right here on Lopatcong. Gentlemen, this is my first time from a township council, so pardon me if I don't understand all the protocols. Thank you for having me here and allowing me to speak on my behalf. I do appreciate it, regardless of how things come out. Thank you for letting me state my case. My lawyer was here last year when I bought the property, and we amended. I own a detention basin, is what I'm being told. I'm one of a few people here in Lopatcong that own detention basins. Last year, we got it amended to say that the only incidents and task I was responsible for was mowing that 2.2 acre monstrosity. It's a lot to mow. It's a tremendous amount to mow. I really don't feel that based on anything I've looked at, anything I've looked at resolution-wise, ordinance-wise, to include our own township ordinance, that should be assigned to a private owner or tenant of a private property, unless they own the whole subdivision, or at least the whole subdivision. That goes back to 1983 when New Jersey DEP put out that guidance. Could have been assigned to a homeowners association when the subdivision plans came before the planning board way back in 2002, 2003. I'm trying to get that amended so that I can pull out of having to mow this thing. I really don't believe I should be mowing it based on anything I've studied and anybody I've talked to at New Jersey DEP or other township engineers. That's my case. I mean, I have a number of things here I can look at. I think there are other options available, but I don't believe a private homeowner is supposed to be allowed to maintain or have the maintenance or repair responsibilities for a detention basin that serves a whole subdivision. It should have been assigned to a homeowners association when the subdivision was created.
Just let me interrupt
Sir.
you 1 second. I was under the impression that the property was sold.
The property was sold.
The previous owner sold the property to him.
Yes,
The
okay.
previous owner is
Okay.
the ones that have the agreement.
And the previous
Granted
property.
the deed.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Pardon me for
I'm
interrupting.
sorry, because the way you were talking made it sound like you were the previous owner.
No, I'm the owner since June 24th of
Okay.
last year, Mayor Mengucci.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here. It was amended to take my repair responsibilities out of it. The expectation that a private homeowner would be responsible to repair a detention basin was a little too much, so we got that at least taken out of it. But that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, based on what I'm reading and anybody I've talked to, maintenance and repair responsibility cannot be assigned to a private homeowner unless I own or lease the entire subdivision. And that goes back to 1983 from what I'm reading. I have in the New Jersey Register that says when that resolution was adopted, it says when that resolution was put forth, and basically it says a homeowners association should have been created. If the township accepted JBL Associates' attempts to get out of establishing a homeowners association, which I can fully understand, it would have been a hurdle to him selling his houses.
Yeah.
Then we had the option, based on other cases that have taken place here in New Jersey since 2005, to request an escrow account be paid by the developer to cover the maintenance and repair responsibilities on the inevitable date that the developer sold that final property and was done with that subdivision. Like I said, 10-year escrow account found in favor of the township council, $83,000. I have it right here.
Is that,
Sir?
so the property, the detention basin is part of your property. You own that.
So we can amend deeds. I mean, I work as a surveyor.
No, I understand that.
Deeds are written in
But personally,
stone.
you own it.
I don't, sir, you're 100% correct. I own the property.
So that would have to
And-
be subdivided or something.
Well, the property itself was subdivided, so I believe if you look in 1983 at what the NJAC 7-8 put out, that property, the subdivision itself, was divided into parcels, and it should have been subdivided amongst a homeowners association, and it should have been collectively, privately owned by a homeowners association or other comparable entity, and deeded down through them as part of their properties.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm just gonna jump in here.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Sturgeon.
Yeah, so this lot is 4.26 acres. There's a detention basin easement on the property that's probably anywhere from 2 to 2.5 acres in size.
Yes.
When the final plat was recorded, that easement was not dedicated to the township. And just to correct the record here,
Yes.
the state policy on not assigning ownership to, sole ownership for detention basin to a single property owner came about after the stormwater rules were updated in 2004. So the board didn't do anything wrong here. I mean, in fact, there's towns all over the state of New Jersey where it was commonplace to have the ownership pinned on one or more owners, you know, and not maybe setting up an association just for a detention basin. You're not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't do that anymore. So if we had a subdivision, we would have to either set up a separate lot and maintain that lot, or require the developer to set up a homeowner association at this point. So last year's agreement, as I understand it, the township agreed to take major maintenance responsibilities. There's a low flow channel, there's an outlet structure, there's some pipes in there. That the agreement was amended so that we took control of that, but we didn't take the lawn mowing responsibilities. That was left with the homeowner. So what this gentleman's asking the council is to further amend last year's agreement so that the township takes on the responsibility of the day-to-day maintenance, which would be the lawn mowing, among other things. I think that's the major thing he's looking for you to assume at this point. That's the
What's our
request.
legal end of that?
I mean, that is the legal end of it. Do you have a proposal? At this time, there's nothing before the council to take any action on at this meeting. So, I mean, all we could do is maybe address it at another meeting or an
Okay.
executive session, but if you have a proposal.
Gentlemen, I just want to clarify, I wasn't, and Mr. Sturbins, I know I've talked with you and we've spoken a little bit. I'm not implying that the township did anything wrong when I say that when and again, pardon my protocol, I spent 21 years in the Army, I'm kind of direct about things, I try and do my homework before I come in. I'm not implying that the township did anything wrong by any means. I would argue the fact that February 2nd of 2004 is when the not being able to assign it to I would contend that fact. I'm not going to argue, Mr. Sturbins, that wouldn't be professional. I would contend that 1983, that was adopted, the resolution when it was submitted, I believe it was December of 1981, it clearly stated in Chapter 5, subparagraph I of the environmental protection that it should be assigned to a homeowners association or another entity in case a federal agency wasn't going to take care of it, a public agency wasn't going to take care of it. So it's stated pretty clearly. I mean, I have that with me, and that's okay, but again, I'm not blaming the township for anything.
It definitely was on February 2nd, but anyway.
Well, February 2nd, exactly, is when it was more clearly defined. JBL Associates rolled that detention basin up as part of the property, Mr. Mingucci, and I think that's honestly what happened between you and me. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I think he found a way around it to where he would never have any type of fight. JBL Associates and Bellevue Crossing LLC wouldn't. That was the cheapest course of action for him was to maintain it. He rolled it up into the property. And of course, we could argue, I'm the property owner, but isn't that structure, private ownership of that structure, they can be kind of separated from that. I mean, he rolled it up into the property June of 2004 after the fact. And I believe that was his best course of action. It saved him. He probably was taking a gamble. What's the chances it's gonna go bad and I'm gonna have to repair it? All I have to do is mow it. And that was the cheapest course of action for him. When he sold that property in 2018, 2019 to a private tenant, private homeowner, I think that's when somebody should have asked him, well, what's your plan for the continued maintenance plan? Because a private homeowner is not financially capable of repairing a 2.2 to 2.6 acre detention basin. They wouldn't even know how to proceed. I know how to proceed because I work kind of on that side of things. But I would still have to come to the town council to approve anything. I think that's kind of what happened. Again, I'm not blaming the township. I think he got one through, and I think honestly the question should have been of Mr. Larkin or whoever, JBL Associates in 2018 when he sold the property. Well, what's your plan? How are you going to reimburse us? He could have been required to establish an escrow account. I have a 10-year plan here, and it was just, I can't remember the name of the township, Freehold Township against Talcott, Fromk, and Freehold Associates. They found for the township $83,000 for maintenance and repair, a 10-year plan, an escrow account that was established the developer had to pay. He tried to fight it, and the township won and said, thank you for your money, to repair and maintain it so that it wasn't the financial or physical burden of a private homeowner. Again, I'm not a subject matter, I was a subject matter expert for 21 years and putting warheads on foreheads. And I was a subject matter, I'm a pretty decent subject matter expert as a land surveyor and crew chief. I'm not a legal expert, pardon me. I'm doing the best I can to cite things here, but I would contend in 1983, I think 2004, Paul, excuse me, Mr. Sturbins, that just more clearly defined that you can assign it to a homeowner. I have the training plan for township engineers.
I think at this point,
from the
we probably
DEP.
need to,
So-
let's just look at it. and-
Yeah, at this point, it'd be a contractual matter like anything else. We would discuss it in executive
Okay.
session. If you want to submit anything to us, we can-
Gentlemen, I'll submit, I would be willing to weed the BMP, which is what incidental tasks are defined as in our own township ordinance. But mowing that thing at 45-degree angles, 50 feet high, I'm almost flipping over on my mower, I'm putting more hours on my mower, and there's barriers in there that I'm destroying my lawnmower, I'm trying not to cause any more damage. Mowing 2.2 acres wouldn't be bad if it was a normal 2 acres, but I'll weed it. That's how incidental tasks are defined in our own township ordinance, I believe in
All right.
chapter 3 or 4. I'll weed it. I'll take the weed whacker out there and weed around the head walls and the inlet but mowing it is really a lot to ask. It's divided into 3 sections because of the concrete channels.
I think
Like
at
Abby and baskets all along it, Paul, where there's been erosion that I'm hitting every time I hit it. I'm literally destroying my lawnmower. The riprap from the baskets are hitting my lawnmower and flying all over the place. I know you guys,
I think we understand your
Huge
plight,
task. Thank you,
at this
Mayor.
point. Let's
sir.
just give us a month to get our act together.
Thank you, sir.
On that
Thank you, sir.
particular-
That's all I'm asking. I
Yeah.
appreciate you letting me speak tonight.
No problem.
Thank you for giving me the time.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thanks
thank
for coming out.
Does that mean I'll hear from you guys? I don't know the protocol. I'll hear from somebody?
There'll be, when's our next meeting? September 6th? September 6th.
Does that mean I'm invited to come? Do I come to hear what's
You-
going on?
you can-
Again, I'm
you can
sorry.
come anytime you want.
My ignorance of the protocols.
Yeah, that'll be our next public meeting. so.
Yeah, the only way they can discuss it is at a meeting or an executive session, so it would have to wait until the next meeting for them all to get together.
Okay.
I guess in the meantime, you want to send a proposal in.
Yeah, send anything you want.
What's a proposal?
Or-
That means-
What
are you
guys
supposed to do?
want?
What are you looking for us to?
Can we flatten it out? Can we reduce the angles on the basin? Can we?
Fill it in.
Can I make it a no-mow zone? Can we let birds and bees and the environment take it over?
I have a question for you.
Yes, Mr. Stearns.
The cleanest way to do this would be to basically take the easement line and make that a lot line. And my question to you is.
I'm 100% good with that. You're talking about,
Would the remainder of your property be 2 acres? Because that's a zone over there.
Mr. Stearns, if you would be willing to do that, I'd be 100%
Well,
good
I'm
with it.
not, my question is, can you calculate that and give that information to us?
Oh, I
It's not
can,
on your I'm looking at your final plat, the final
Yes.
plat right now.
Van Cleef did the final plat. I mean, Mr. Stearns, as you're well aware, I can have that surveyed myself. I can have a
That's
description.
not what
Okay,
can you
what do
give
you
me,
mean?
can you tell us if we subdivided along the easement line, would the area, the remaining area where your house is still be 2 acres? That's what we want to know.
Oh, I know what
You
you
can follow, you
It's
can
2 acre
follow up with
parcel.
that.
Do I have to have 2 acres to be?
That's the zone, yes.
Okay.
All the properties in there were at least 2 acres.
Okay.
That's a question I have for you. We
Okay,
can follow up. All right?
okay. Got it.
Yeah, think about it.
So basically,
I don't like to think about it. I'll just go to Van Cleef and pull the plat and,
Yeah.
and do the land area.
I'll email the plat to you if you want.
Oh, I have the
Email
plat. I just need the tools to figure it out,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
all right.
But you should be able to tell me, Paul.
Oh, Gene Weber can do it.
I know Gene can do it, yeah, Mike can't because he's not good with math, but Gene probably could.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Are you seeing 2? Because I'm tracking like 4.2 acres out there.
I don't know, that's why
You don't know.
I'm asking you to produce that
Okay.
information.
Kyle Herman might know, they're the ones that did it, so. Is that what I need to be able to have a lot? And so what happens if I don't have 2 acres? Do we adjust the easement line over, or what do we do?
I'm just asking the question.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, just
Give
let
the
us know
information.
if it is.
That's a fact we need to have,
Okay,
all
sir.
right?
I mean, okay, no problem.
All right.
I'm ignorant to all this. I'm getting better though. I'm good at medical billing also. I deal with USA and Tri-Pay, so. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right. Number 3, authorize the mayor to sign developer's agreement with Bridge Development, subject to legal and engineering review. I'll make that motion.
Second,
Councilman Del Caro,
yes.
Councilman McQuaid.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Council President Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes, the consent agenda number 1 through 11. If everyone's okay with that, I'll need a motion. If not, let me know what you want pulled out. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Valcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Menducci?
Yes. I do have one announcement tonight. Community Day is Saturday, August 26th, 2 PM to dusk. One thing I do need to bring up to you gentlemen that I failed to bring up earlier. Supposedly there is a football tournament that day. So we're going to have some crowd control problems up there. According to Kayla, we do need the practice football field. We do not need the regular football field. So I think we need to get a letter off to the LAA promptly and tell them that we're going to need that day and they're going to have to work around it. I would also suggest that we block off the parking lot near the pavilion so that we don't run into traffic issues. They can have the pool parking lot. If they would like, I could certainly reach out to the Phillipsburg School District to see if we could park some cars on the macadam near the soccer fields. We would have to obviously provide insurance, so they would be held, they wouldn't be held liable for anything that would go on over there. So that's our plight at this point. Why they scheduled that, or was a lack of communication between them and us, or us and them, whatever. We've set this date back in January. But it's gonna, again, our kids are involved, and it's a tournament, not just our kids, but evidently it must be an area of kids. So that's our plight. My suggestion is, at this point, that we get a letter off to the LAA. I'll sign it, and we'll go from there. Try and work it out as best we can for everybody, but it's gonna have to happen pretty quickly. The letter needs to go out tomorrow, and they're gonna have to get back to me within a week. So I've got to at least approach the Phillipsburg School District if in fact they want to go that route. So, all right. Folks, Rick, any council report this month?
I don't have anything.
Okay, Lou?
Nothing.
Jim?
The townwide yard sale scheduled for September 9th. The flyer and application should be on the town website.
Okay.
I believe there's applications here at the municipal building.
Our cleanup, I did see a flyer on that. When is that, the 30th? September 30th? Okay.
September 30th.
All right.
And that's all for now, thank you.
That's usually a biggie. Mr. Wright?
The other thing I have is, I sent a picture out to everybody the other night. I went by Twilight, and there was 7 trucks in the parking lot, and a few trailers, actually.
Mhm.
Apparently they're coming there at night parking, and we gotta get something done. We
I
gotta
told Andrew
I
that.
did.
I was gonna say, at this point, we need another fine. That guy was supposed to get a sign up there that said no
Right.
truck parking, so,
We've done
I
that.
told Andrew that.
yeah, so ball's back in
Yeah,
his court again.
yeah.
All right, anything else?
Nope, that's all I have.
All right. Myself tonight, we had National Night Out last night. That's for my, from my perspective, that's one of our best nights when we get together with our emergency people and also our cops. It's a great night. People come out, they relax, they get some food. The kids are in the cars, which always fascinates the kids. There were some games, there was some music. If you missed it, try and get out to it next year. It's the first Tuesday of every August. So, it's always been a great event. And also, if you get a chance to get up to the park on a Wednesday night for the music, we've had the last 3. We had some good bands, and I want to say that we've averaged probably about 300 people up there on a Wednesday night. So it's a good activity. It's free to the public. There's some hot dog vendors up there, some ice cream vendors. So it's kind of growing, which is good. It's good for our park. So I'm sure many of you by this time have received your tax bills. Hopefully everyone is pleased. I know I certainly am. Thanks to We've sat up here, I brought my tax bills with me tonight, for the last number of years. My taxes are less than I was paying back in, 2016. So that's due to a number of things. The county has dropped their rate, which has helped us, because I'm of the opinion that almost anybody here can tell me what their taxes are, but they can't tell me what their open space tax is, they can't tell me what their school tax is, and they can't tell me what their municipal tax is. Our rate is up 5 cents since 2016. Again, I think that's pretty good with all that we've done, all the roads that we've done. We, at some time, and again, I'm not saying because I was here or wasn't here, but sometime between the time I got out in 2012 and got back on in 2018, we had a surplus of $65,000 in this township, which is ridiculous. We're now a little over 3 million. So, is that excellent? No, it's a lot better than it was, but the $3 million for what we got going on in this township, that's not a lot of money. So kudos to everybody who's done what they could. The county lowered their rate. They've got more money than they've ever gotten before. So, they were able to do that. So it's, we've got some things coming up as I've told these guys. I'm going to be here until December 31st. After that, I'll probably be sitting out there with you. But, I think we've done an excellent job. And at one point, former council president Pryor told me that he had gotten a call from the mayor, that we didn't have the money to pay the schools at one point. So, how they did it, I don't know. At that point, I wasn't here, but, we don't ever want to get in that position again. And we bought some equipment, for our DPW. We've kept our police up. We went through the thing in the tax collector's office. We went through COVID. Me personally, I'm very proud of how we've come out of it. All our employees were kept employed, all their benefits were paid, they've gotten their raises. So, we came through it, and I want to thank the other 4 gentlemen that are up here, and former council president, Joe Pryor, for, keeping our heads screwed on tight and doing our best to move forward. I know we don't always please everybody, but that's the nature of politics. So, it's just the way it is. So we can agree to disagree, and that's it. So, Paul?
Thank you, Mayor. A few things to report tonight. The Baltimore Street project, the Phase 2 project is done. I have to work with the contractor on a closeout. There'll be an invoice for your September 6th meeting. More to report on the closeout at that time. I think the work turned out well. And, it's a project that we obtained some monies from the state on, which helped pay for some of the costs, which is a good thing. Regarding Stonehenge Drive, the area near the school, that is anticipated to be paved finally next week. Just so you're all aware, South State was replaced as the contractor for contract 6 with the cooperative. So Tilcon is now the contractor. I met with Tilcon last week, and they're assuming all the co-op work in this area of the state, and told them about this project not getting done by South State, and we needed to get it done before school gets in session. So it's tentatively scheduled for next week. I've put Brian and Jason on notice of that, and hope to get an update and a firm schedule for next week, and we'll let everybody know at this point. So that would be good when we get that done. On Bellevue Road, as you know, we paved last year the area between Strikers Road and County Route 646. We have a grant for the next phase, which goes out to 519. That area's been surveyed. We've done some of the plan work. The goal is going to be to complete the design work this fall and put that out to bid in the middle of the winter to get bids and have an early 2024 construction project. Okay. We're working on the J Lane project. That's the second part of the project over in Country Hills. The first phase obviously was Stonehenge Drive. So we're getting that organized, and the goal would be to have an early 2024 construction project on J Lane. At first, the drainage and sanitary sewer structures, the handicap ramps, and thereafter the paving through the co-op. So we're getting it set up right now. Stonehenge Drive grant application, that whole process is done, and we have our application in now for consideration by the department. I would anticipate that they'll take action before Thanksgiving like they normally do.
And that would be to finish the rest of that road next year?
This would be between Buckley Hill Drive and Red School Lane. And I feel it's a very strong application, and I do believe it will get funded. So we'll see what happens before Thanksgiving. The Lopatcong Park status, obviously, we've gone through 2 iterations of presentations. We're doing an evaluation of cost, a more high-level evaluation of cost, and what Simone Collins had in their master plan document, and we will have more to report at your September meeting on that. In fact, we're looking to get that done by the 18th of this month, and then work with the council and have a presentation again on the 6th of September. The Industrial Connector Road grant that was approved by the DOT was in the amount of $1.3 million. Unfortunately, the correspondence that came back with the grant agreement was structured in a manner that indicated that this was for construction, like any other local aid application, which was not the fact. It's really for design. So we haven't moved forward with the design yet for that reason, and we did outreach to Senator Steinhardt. He's looking into the issue for the township at this point and to try to get that corrected, that correspondence corrected. And then lastly, the TAP grant, which is the sidewalk project on the north side of County Route 646 between the old flashing light and Wildew Avenue. The DOT Civil Rights Division is still looking at the bids that came in and hasn't authorized the township to move forward. So it's unfortunate. I know our local aid friends over in Mount Arlington are very disappointed, and we're certainly disappointed because we got.
How long is the bid good for? Is it going to have to be rebid?
That's a great question. It's only good for 60 days, but I did talk to Top Line Construction, and they've told me they want to do this project. They're the lowest responsible bidder, and they will give the township correspondence that effect. So they're holding their prices at this point, albeit in an informal way, but they want to do this project for the township, which is a good thing because we've done a number of projects with them, and including the Baltimore Street project that was recently.
Top Line's always been pretty good.
Actually, yeah, or the first Baltimore Street project, so they've done a good job for us. So they're holding their prices right now based on discussions.
Okay.
So that's tonight's report on infrastructure and engineering for the council.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much. Department reports, need a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve payment of bills? I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman McQuaid?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Council President Wright?
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci?
Yes. Folks, comments? Yes, sir? Not that it'll mean anything to you, but I also happen to be a Jets fan. Let's hope we don't have to wait another 55 years to.
We're going September 11th, me and my son.
How are you?
Highlight of his life, hope it's not the low light of his life.
Uh,
Mr. Mayor and Council, Robert Bruce, 11 Harvard Road. Mr. Mayor and Council, I printed and distributed 5 pages to each of you. The first page is about who is now operating at the Berry facility. The second page is headlines of 4 stories in the Wall Street Journal that detail that trucks carrying U.S. mail frequently violate safety rules that have resulted in 79 people being killed since 2020. This led to a congressional inquiry being made to the USPS. That led to a new requirement from the USPS to their contractors that they must now, for the first time, disclose serious traffic accidents by their drivers. And the 4th story details how the USPS search for savings brought in all of these riskier drivers. I will forward the full stories to you, Mr. Mayor, and you can forward them to all council members personally. The last few pages are what I'll be talking about tonight. As I drove home from work on Strikers Road Friday night, a tractor trailer pulled out of the Ritchie warehouse and made an illegal left right in front of me. I called the Lopat PD number while I followed the tractor trailer, and before reaching 57, that tractor trailer pulled into 199 Strikers Road, which is H&S Enterprises. I spoke to the dispatcher from the parking lot of Angel Car Care directly across from that address. The dispatcher said they dispatched an officer, then called me back to say a medical emergency call prevented that dispatch. Someone would call me, and soon Sergeant Stefano did. I told him I had spoken to Chief Garcia, who had informed me that it was possible for a citizen to register a report of a traffic violation. Sergeant Stefano indicated he need plates numbers. I entered the H&S property, located the idling B&B tractor trailer, and proceeded to take such pictures. When I went around back to the trailer, I noticed a total of 14 postal trailers, 8 B&B trucking, and 6 U.S. mail. I proceeded to the Lopat PD and filed my complaint with Sergeant Stefano. He said he'd need to ID the driver. I ran into Sergeant Stefano at the Bagel Shack this morning. He said Richie claims they keep no records of drivers, and he needs to get that information directly from B&B Trucking. So now I'm here before you, within rights laid out in the First Amendment, not to be a stickler, but as my government, I am here to petition you. This violation involved 3 businesses listed on the last of the 5 pages I gave you. 1, the Ritchie warehouse from which the illegal left was made. 2, B&B Trucking, who employs the driver that made the illegal left. And 3, H&S Enterprises, into which the driver of the B&B Trucking firm turned into. Google reviews of the Ritchie warehouse indicate no overnight parking is allowed there. Google reviews of H&S Enterprises indicate that overnight parking is available there. My petition to you, and I would hope maybe you can entertain it a little bit with a public dialogue right now, is threefold. As the governing body in which these 3 businesses operate, I petition you to ask that you have your attorney inform all 3 of them by mail that you believe their businesses are contributory to repeat traffic violations in our township. And ask that these 3 take immediate steps to see that such violations cease and desist. I also petition you, and not an unelected zoning official, to determine whether overnight parking is or is not legally allowable by postal tractor trailers at H&S. They are apparently and repeatedly making illegal lefts out of the Ritchie warehouse to get to H&S. So you and the local citizens who have elected you, we need to know if they're also breaking our law by parking there overnight. My third petition is I'm asking you to direct our police department to each month publicly report our council, 1, the number of trucks they stop, and 2, the number of trucks ticketed. This would benefit all residents of Lopatcong, all of whom, like me, fully support our police department. We all know there are scores of violations on our township roads every month. We know our police department can't witness them all, but we deserve to know how many they witness and pull over and how many are ticketed. If, Mr. Mayor, our goal is to crack down and enforce violations, like you said, Frenchtown, New Jersey is the model for, we need to track these numbers, and we need to see them increasing as more and more trucks from more and more warehouses now begin to use our roads. Thank you, and I'm sure we will be grateful if you begin to speak on this as I surrender the balance of my time.
Thank you. Anyone else, questions, comments? John?
Question.
Sure.
We have an answer for it or anything. Has the township received in the last 6 years any grants, subsidies, or aid or a direct support from the state or from the government of the state of New Jersey or the government of the U.S. government?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've done, like roads and whatnot, that all comes from,
From
Infrastructure.
yeah,
the infrastructure and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Were you looking for any specific grant?
Well, I don't know any specific grants or
Okay.
anything like that. I was just, I don't know. There was a COVID grant that came through at one point, a little over $400,000. And
We got it. We got it.
did you,
Grant.
has it been used?
Yes.
Do you know what it was used for?
Not off the top of my head, the CFO is in charge of that.
Okay, could I find out from her if I asked her?
Sure.
I'm sure she'd have that
Okay.
information.
All right, thank you.
Just to give
Thanks
you a
very
couple
much.
examples,
Yes.
the sidewalk project that I just talked about on Belvedere Road, we have, I think, $440,000 of grant money on that.
Yes.
It's going to help cover
Yes,
the cost.
I've been following, but I just didn't record actually.
And previously, when the Phillipsburg High School signal was built, the DOT provided the township a $300,000 grant for that. That's just a couple examples.
Some examples.
There's
So
many
they do
more,
come-
so.
They do come through out of the
Yes.
state and so on and so forth. Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else, questions, comments? That's sweet. Three arms all at once. Joe?
Yeah.
Joe DeMassey, 254 Lowe's Hollow Road. I guess my question is more or less directed to Paul. I'm having some stormwater issues up on my property. Beth had emailed you roughly a year ago about it with my survey and stuff. Who's responsible for those outfalls and where the water goes onto my property? Because it has made it probably 3 acres through my property and is now starting to swamp out my septic. So the outfalls are blown apart, and where the ditches were, there's no more. So who maintains those facilities, and why is it dumped onto my property?
Very broad question. You have a survey of your property?
Not with me.
But you have one?
I do.
Okay.
It shows them.
What are your deeds saying?
It shows that the pipes are on my property. They come from one side of the road to the other.
Okay.
And the one pipe is probably buried too far in the ground, so when the water goes over that, it washes out my whole upper parking area that I now have to fix. And the lower side is nonstop running because the other neighbor across the street has a spring running into it, so I'm constantly getting walloped with water nonstop. So I'm wondering who's responsible for that, and how do I proceed? Being that they're from the township's road.
You take a look at it. I mean,
You take a look at Joe's issue here.
I think they
I mean,
are
the town-
flowing where they don't belong flowing anymore.
And this is you know, Lowe's Hollow Road is a township road. As you know, we've made a lot of improvements up there back in the COVID year, 2020. And we did some drainage improvements. There was a drainage system in the road. We actually repaired some drainage systems that had fallen apart.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's below,
Did a lot of damage from this last year?
yeah, that's
Have you
that's
reported?
why I'm asking. Huh?
Have you reported it at all?
I haven't.
We can get him on that.
Yeah, for Friday at noon, you better be here because there's representatives that are be taking accounts of people.
So I have to take pictures and
I
everything?
would.
I would.
Are you guys gonna do anything with Lowe's Hollow Road from where it's paved? Because there's 3-foot ditches on the sides of the road.
Continue up.
What time's Friday's back?
12.
To continue up, Joe?
No, I mean to fix the sides of the roads. I mean, when they paved, they did 15 foot of the road, and it didn't matter if there was 18 foot of road, they left old blacktop. So where the stone was, it just washes right away. It's gotta be, if you wanna fix it right, you gotta do it like they did Fox Farm up top. You gotta put professional berms
the
in.
shoulders were done when the road was done in 2020, perhaps.
They weren't. It's from the beginning, all the way up past my house to the bend, everything on both sides washed out because of how high they went with the blacktop, and they didn't go to the end. They didn't go to the full length of the road. So like,
Definitely some washout.
I've been up there 5 years, and every year it's temporary fix, temporary fix, temporary fix. It's time to get a permanent fix. Because all that stone ends up in Jimmy's house down the bottom of the road, all on his property. And it blew that guy's driveway out, the next guy's driveway got blown out, because all these siltways that are in the woods aren't being maintained. But it's taking all the
If you're
storm.
gonna, if you're gonna see your neighbors between now and Friday, which tomorrow's Thursday, tell them to at least apply for, there's some federal money
There's
coming along.
a website, on the county website, I think.
I did see it, I just didn't know if private damage.
Yep, no, it's part of it.
There's stuff on our website.
It's
Yeah.
part of it, and so, get on it. All
All
right,
right,
I'll be in touch.
thank you, Paul. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Brian?
Just a real simple one. I don't want to get into it. I just got to let you know, because in the letter you want to write. Baseball, men's baseball on the 27th, which is the Sunday, the rain date, is playing baseball.
Okay.
So you should give them a letter or something too, if you're writing a letter. All right, and then if you could let me know, so I have a letter where you want everything stopped, so that I have no fighting of anybody.
Well, I want to notify them first, hopefully they'll have some correspondence with us, and then we'll get a plan together and let you know what's going on.
Fair enough.
As far as the baseball game goes,
That's the next day, Sunday, community.
well, he's saying if it's.
That's the rain date. I don't think it's gonna rain, but I can't tell you it's not gonna rain
Yeah.
either. So, no,
All right.
awareness is
We're a
better.
little bit, we'll have to start looking at the weather a week before and see what's,
That's it.
and we'll do our best.
Yeah.
There are signs up there, so I'm sure those guys have seen those signs. So,
Right, yeah, well,
it's a pretty big sign.
I agree.
Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. Council. And yeah, I just wanted to make some public announcements specifically with some of the things that happened over the past month. It's been a busy month for the township. It was actually a great night. We had last night with National Night Out, so I want to give some public thank yous for those who came out and participated, and it was great to have some community interaction, seeing the kids out there and letting them get in some of the cars and seeing some of the equipment. So it always puts a smile on my face when I see the kids out there enjoying themselves like that. So
Yeah, it was a great night.
great night, and it was fully funded by our local businesses. That should be known. We had several donors that took care of the whole night, as well as ShopRite, who always takes care of the township. So
We take care of everybody.
can't thank them enough. They're great partners to have, as well as all our volunteers that were there, lending a hand with various things throughout the night, including the grill and everything else. So that's much appreciated. And now on the OEM side, I know we had a disaster in the county. As far as the township goes, we fared pretty well on a township-wide basis. And I just wanted to acknowledge the people that responded to that as well, our emergency responders, the DPW, the police department, fire department, all the volunteers. Just hearing great responses from our community members and how thankful and fortunate they are to have had the resources come to them and to save their properties. DPW did a great job restoring the Fox Farm Road, which was most affected, as well as Paul's team. We worked with them to get some numbers together to hopefully get some final restorations there. So
Along with Pat Rivoli, your deputy OEM.
he's on there, and Pat picked up the slack while I was away, and he did a phenomenal job. Put many hours in, kept me well informed, and can't speak highly enough about the job he did. Going to Joe's question and inquiries about reporting the damage, it's important for everybody to get onto that website and report their personal property damages. If you don't report it, it's guaranteed that you're not going to receive any funding.
Yep.
By reporting it, it's not guaranteed that you receive the funding, but you may see something come your way if funding does appear. So make sure you do as much documentation as you can. It's very important to precisely document everything. If you can take lots of photos and upload them, you'll help your cause out.
I'll get my question on.
The website is up on the township website, on all of our emergency responders Facebook pages, as well as the township Facebook page. So it's well accessible for anybody in the county, not only the township. So, and that the individual assistants from FEMA will be here 12 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
To help that process as well.
I think you forgot to thank me. I think I took about 15 calls from Brian that day, to the point where I think I may claim him on my taxes this year. I think it drove my hourly rate down to a dime, so, but anyway, the guys did a great job. They really did. I was out riding around all over the place. Fox Farm was definitely the worst. Wells Hollow had some damage. Everything else was stuff that I've seen before. Bellevue Road. It's been a while since I've seen the water go through the tunnels at Maury's Acres, but it's just a lot of water. I'd love to know what we actually got in that short amount of time, because don't forget there was Friday night too.
Yeah.
So there was,
And I only saw pictures. I wasn't here for it.
Yeah.
My timing to be away was impeccable, but
we came out of it a lot better than most areas. We really did. But nonetheless, I had my significant other with me in the truck, and she was really worried about falling in the ditch on Fox Farm Road. this is pretty close. I said, yeah, I know. So, anyway,
There was pretty significant movement with those little streams becoming rivers. Yeah.
it's amazing. The power of water is just amazing.
Really was. So, yeah, there was a lot of team effort there, and it was phenomenal to see, or to hear about, I guess. So I did put together a brief traffic report for this month. We had a total of 157 stops, and out of those stops, about 25% of those were issued traffic citations, and then of those issued citations, about 1/3 of those were tractor trailers.
Okay.
So we continue our effort to be out in the public and get on the roads and stop as many vehicles that we can that are violating the law.
Well, like Bill said earlier, he sent me a picture and the rest of us from, what was that, last Friday night? Whatever it was, and Lou just sent one from yesterday.
Two mornings ago.
Yeah, so we're aware of it.
And when time permits and we're able to pull ourselves away from emergency calls and everything in between, we're out there, we're visible, we're trying to put a dent into what's out there, but we can't be there 24/7.
No, and I think everybody understands that, but as long as we're working on it. So, and we continue to work on it.
You guys are doing the job, because the other morning, I saw him just pull the tractor trailer over there in Red School Lane. 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm just coming back behind my house. So last night I saw one go behind my house. He was quiet, he was stealth. I saw him then.
No, I'd like to add that I actually witnessed you out there with a tractor trailer that early in the morning when I was going to work. I'd like to add that too as well.
So, yeah, we do the best we can, and, we'll continue to do that. So we thank you for that, and all the support that the council and mayor certainly show us throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then lastly, I was just notified that the mosquito control is going to be out in the area of our middle school. I guess they tested a positive West Nile virus sample over in that area. So starting tomorrow evening from 8:30 to 11:30, Jade Lane, Pudding Stone, Stonehenge, Buckley Hill, all those areas, the wooded areas are going to be treated. So residents should keep their windows down for that period of time. But they'll be out there, and you might see flashing lights and stuff like that, but it's our mosquito control taking care of the problem.
All right.
That's my report.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Donna, you had your hand up?
Thank you. I just want to say, after Bob's reporting to Sergeant Stefano about that tractor trailer making an illegal left, I happened to be on my way home that night from a Yankee game, and I saw one of our police cars hiding right out at the entrance, the exit of the warehouse. So it was nice to see that some action was taken from what Bob reported. I also, for the first time in 21 years of living at my home with a 180-acre cornfield behind me, saw a crop duster blow through for the very first time. It was very cool. I don't know if the ownership has changed on that, how they sublet out the work, but it was very cool. My family really enjoyed seeing that. It was very cool. I have also seen many tractor trailers making a illegal left out of there. I have seen
Out of where?
out of the warehouse,
Okay.
the post office. I have also seen tractor trailers coming out of the asphalt plant that are United Postal Service tractor trailers. I've seen tractor trailers coming out of H&S that are postal worker tractor trailers. So they are for sure housing themselves on these properties. And, you're trying to crack down on Twilight, who continues for the past 2 years to do this. Now you've got them finding not only Twilight, not only Eagle, but now these other places, Bellevue Road. Everywhere I go, there's a massive tractor trailers parked where they shouldn't be parking.
I don't understand why they put the park at the warehouse.
I don't understand either, because you're not allowed.
But I mean, there's got to be something. So is where they're parking, possibly.
Agreed, Richie does not allow it.
So,
Yeah, that's true. Diana Saldano, who is the owner-operator of Ritchie, has publicly stated that her drivers are not allowed to park overnight. at their lot,
No, I don't know all
at the post office
the
lot.
legal ends of it, but I can't believe even the old Ingersoll site, that they couldn't rent something. I mean, if they're desperate for revenue, who knows? I know all those warehouses are not full at this point.
No.
So if everything was contained there, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, if they were allowed to park at the warehouses, problem would be solved. But they're not allowed for some reason. I don't know if it's due to ordinance, if it's due to their applications and how we deem them complete. I don't know how that works.
Okay.
I can take a look at the resolution, but I'm not aware of any restriction.
Yeah. I mean, which by the way, you can ride through Ingersoll now because the bridge is open, but.
Actually, I have a client of mine who's a beer distributor, and they had a lot of problems with truckers coming in at night and operating or idling in the back, and it aggravated people living in a residential neighborhood next to it. And my client had a lot of difficulties for several years with the township because of it. They ultimately put up a gate to keep those truckers, and they were third-party truckers. They weren't affiliated with there were truckers that were coming in under a contract basis to go to the site, and people were coming in the middle of the night between the hours of 10 to 7, when you're only allowed to emit 50 decibels at the property line. And it was annoying people in an adjacent residential community. It was a big issue.
Everything's louder at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Of course, and that's when they're parked overnight at 3 a.m. You go through this township at night, in the wee hours of the night, and you'll find tractor trailers parked in various places where they shouldn't be parked. Rafts in front of the library. I know that's Greenwich Township, but still it's coming from our warehouse. They're just everywhere. And, with Twilight, how many times have you taken them to court? Like, what is it going to take to get them to stop putting tractor trailers there? What's the end?
They agreed to a sign, no truck parking?
That was part of the last thing that we have with them. They were gonna put a sign up that said no truck parking, so we haven't seen it yet. Yes.
So,
And this is from the
Hefty
judge.
fines, maybe.
yeah, but when, how long? It's 2 years we've been working on this, and you say you can't do hefty fines because it has to go through the court. So if you can't do the hefty fines, that's what was told to us, that you cannot, that the court dictates the fines, not the township. So,
There is an ordinance in place that the zoning officer will write tickets against, but then it all has to be upheld in court, I mean.
Yeah.
The judge might say, well, I'm gonna give you a month's opportunity to fix this before, we impose the fine. There's things like that.
And the issue is with the zoning violations and police violations, we can't tell them how to do their job. It's just, we're prohibited from, because we can't target people. They don't have politics targeting people. So we can only let them know of violations, and then they have to take it from there. And that's what we're doing. That's what everyone's doing.
I'm really not trying to give you a hard time, but really, like, Greenwich has been called about SMP, that trucks were parking in there, and in a few days' time, they had to gate it off, no truck parking, no trespassing. How is it that can happen, but it could never happen here?
Probably their owner went out and put that chain up, and the owner at Twilight is
Because
doing that.
the owner doesn't want the liability of the trucks on the property, I'm sure.
But this owner probably getting a good payday from all the trucks
Yeah.
parking there.
They are getting a payday, and it's just they're just mucking up everywhere. It's bad enough we have a bunch of warehouses and more to come. Now they're just parked everywhere, and it's really just, there's got to be something more hefty that can be done, because it's getting really, really, really out of hand. And the left-hand turns as well. I know that the police are working on that, and I know that they're there because I see them there, but something has to be done
We
with
can get
that.
it to the judge, but from that point on, he does what he wants.
What should really happen on Strikers Road, including H&S Enterprises, I'm sure when these uses were approved, the facility was only supposed to be them, and they weren't supposed to be leasing out a piece of the facility to a third party. And we should verify if they're leasing out parking to a third party, that's a completely separate use from the use that's on the site.
And to your point, they're making lefts coming out of
Yeah.
the postal thing to go to H&S. Of course they're gonna do that, because they're not gonna go out and go all the way around and get back to their trailers or whatever it is, but so.
But if we stop H&S from
Right.
parking there, we
Right.
won't have to do that anymore. So, yeah. I think that was I think that was it. It was mostly the turns and the trucks. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else, John?
Oh, just one more. Thank you for
Sure.
telling me about Berry Plastic.
Yep,
I
no problem.
appreciate looking into it for me.
Yes, you're welcome.
John Kitcherson, 38 Jade Lane. Just a quick question regarding the trucks parking in H&K. Doesn't our ordinance prevent trucks from parking overnight like that? I mean, they're not associated with H&K, right? So that would make that a truck stop, and we passed an ordinance to ban truck stops.
Well, it sounds like we did like another business or something, somebody.
The second business
I don't know,
theoretically.
I don't know.
Yeah, so.
Second business, that's what
So-
we should look at.
Yeah, so just like Paul said, we'd have to look at, what's allowable on that property. I mean, if they're allowed to run a second business, and that's a permitted business, but we'd have to look into that.
Right. But even if it goes against our ordinance for banning truck stops, because if the guys are staying in their trucks overnight, and, and they're coming from another facility, they're just staying there to park overnight, that seems like a truck stop to me. What's the definition of a
Yeah.
truck stop?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say that I too have witnessed all kinds of trucks pulling in and out of, not necessarily H&K, but the asphalt plant as well. I was going to go back there, but there's all kinds of do not trespass signs, so I didn't go back there. But regarding Twilight, if, they know that they're not supposed to be parking there, right? The lot owner knows, he's been summoned, he's been issued summonses. What's preventing the police department from issuing tickets? Pardon?
Private property.
Private property? So if he put up if the lot owner put up a no truck parking sign, then they would be able to issue tickets, is that it?
That's what Greenwich Police.
That's what Greenwich Police
Yeah.
did, yeah.
I don't know that one. To issue traffic regulatory tickets on private property, you have to have Title 39 enforcement, and I'm going to defer to Wade here, but I believe you have to have that. The property owner has to consent to that ahead of time.
Gotcha.
We would adopt an ordinance. So we have several properties in the town that those property owners have granted Title 39 enforcement, such as the Hillcrest Mall, and we were able to enact traffic ordinances and parking ordinances, and the police can go in there and issue summonses as a result of that.
Okay.
But not every property owner allows that.
Gotcha. So in the meantime, we could just keep on issuing the property owner the summons.
Summons.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep.
So just weight restricted roads in general. Council's been asked before about, what are we doing to protect residential streets from trucks? Right now, it's not been so much an issue on some of the side roads, the residential roads, but the council recently adopted an ordinance to add the last section of Baltimore as weight restricted, right? But Baltimore is I'm not trying to say it's a major thoroughfare, but has a double yellow line down the road, no parking on either side, et cetera, and so on. It's more of a main road than, say, through Country Hills and some of the roads that are off of Red Skull Lane, where they don't have any lines painted down them. People are walking in the streets, kids riding their bikes in the streets and stuff like that. But right now, a truck going up Red Skull could actually turn and go through Country Hills, or turn and go left through whatever that is, section that is, and be perfectly legal to do so. And it just doesn't make sense to me why they would be able to do that.
Only if they're making a delivery.
So they are restricted from?
Yeah, that's the way our code reads. Yeah, they can't just use that as a travel route. They can go there if they're making a delivery to someone's house.
Okay.
I believe that's the way they word it. I can open up.
Okay, no, it's,
I think John's referring more to, and I will tell you this, I have seen, don't ask me which road, but I have seen in Country Hills, one tractor parked in somebody's driveway.
Oh, I've seen that as well.
Yeah, so, it
Yeah, but it was just a cab, right?
was just a cab.
Yeah. They were parked on the street for a while.
When I saw it was in a driveway,
Yeah.
so.
That's just the type of thing that, we'd really like to protect ourselves against. I mean, we're fighting the warehouses has been futile. We're gonna get another, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and 3, possibly 4 in Lopatcong. So apparently the citizens are gonna have to live with these things, but we just wanna keep them off our streets, our residential streets. And, otherwise it's just gonna turn the town into something we don't want to see.
Because of the executive session privileges, you'll see some things coming. Nothing ever comes fast, as I've said many, many times, no matter what it is. But there are some things being worked on.
Thank you.
Anyone else, questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, thank you very much for coming out. Appreciate your attendance. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, thank you.
Yes.
Never called me back.